Hi, this is Khushru Khan. I'll be having a panel of speakers to discuss education, training and services for our community. So please keep on watching Beyond TV.
এডুকেশন ট্রেনিং এবং সার্ভিস নিয়ে খসরু খানের উপস্থাপনায় অনুষ্ঠান বিএ সাকসেস নিয়মিত দেখবেন বিয়ন্ড টিভিতে।
চোখ রাখুন, সঙ্গে থাকুন বিয়ন্ড টিভি ইউকের সংবাদে।
চোখ রাখুন, সঙ্গে থাকুন বিয়ন্ড টিভির সংবাদে।
Hello, I'm Fajli Bibi, the host of Empowered Women Show, a show designed to inspire, empower and raise your aspiration. I will be introducing inspirational women from the business world, from the community, from the media, fashion industry, women who have overcome many obstacles and barriers on their journey to success. Watch me on Beyond TV. Assalamu alaikum, good evening and welcome to Empowered Women Show on Beyond TV UK. Thank you for joining us. Our show is designed to inspire, empower and raise your aspiration, and I am your host, Fajli Bibi. Thank you to everyone who have joined us on Beyond TV UK. Now, if you haven't subscribed to Beyond TV, please subscribe, like and share, and also put your comments below. If you want to contact us or ask any questions in the show, it is a live show. You could contact us on 0121 257 7007. Today's show is a special show. Yes, every time we share the stories of remarkable women who have been inspiring across the globe. Today I have an inspirational guest, but it is unique because we will be talking about marriage, the essence of marriage in the context of successful and empowered women within our Asian and Muslim culture. And the marriage is always seen as great importance in our society. It holds a deep historical and religious significance that shapes the way we live and also our life as well. Now, today's inspirational woman she has achieved so much. I'm not sure if I can actually cover everything in just our show. But I would like to welcome you to meet Gazala Saleem from, she's a lecturer.
Yes.
And also a radio presenter.
Yes.
A relationship expert.
Yes.
And you're also a marriage matchmaker and an author. See, to explain everything, it would take the whole show. But thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome. And I know you've achieved so much, Gazala, and it would be really useful for our viewers to get to know you a slightly bit better, to share with us your journey, a brief background about yourself and how you've exceeded and excelled in some of those roles that you're playing.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So, like Fajli just introduced me in a very beautiful way, my name's Gazala Saleem. I'm an educator. I've been educating in further education for more than 30 years. And for this, I've actually won an international award recently in Dubai as an outstanding leader in education because of my contribution to this sector. I'm also an author. I've written several books on relationships in particular, looking at aspects of how people can look to improve their relationships. I'm a radio show presenter. I do a radio show called The Matrimony Show. So this is very heavily focused on how individuals can help to navigate the difficulties that they might have in their relationship, but also the issues that we have in our community where people are struggling to find compatible matches and what techniques and tools they can use to actually achieve that. And so, like I said, I'm a relationship expert and a matchmaker.
So what is a relationship expert? Because that sounds like a very amazing title. So tell us a bit about the role itself.
Yeah, during COVID, as a lecturer, we were teaching our students from home, and this was something that there's two folds to this. Obviously, I did a coaching qualification, so I understood more about tools and techniques that can be used to support and transform individuals from where they might be in their lives and how they can actually improve the quality of their lives by using coaching tools. But I use this on my own self as well, because I myself have struggled with my relationships. I've had difficult relationships. And as an empowered woman, as a woman who is a successful woman, sometimes it's quite difficult to get sort of involved in the daily household sort of chores. When you're out, you're going and you're sort of within the community, you're a figurehead and you've got so much going on for you, and then you're expected to do that role within the household where you're just the woman in the kitchen, or the cooking and the cleaning, and sometimes that can become quite difficult for you, not having the recognition of who you are. So I struggled myself, so my own personal journey led me to become an expert. And I guess when you've had difficulties and you've experienced the obstacles within your own life, then you become the expert in this. And then I've done the deep diving into the data, the philosophy, the psychology behind it, and this is what's made me the expert today that I am.
Thank you. And you're also a matchmaker.
Yes.
What is a matchmaker? Tell us.
So a matchmaker is somebody who can recognize, they have the intuition of looking at two individuals, looking at what is the thing that would align those individuals, what would be the thing that would really be a successful match. We have our profiles, we have our algorithms on our system, but apart from that, there has to be a real connection of the individual, the compatibility, the values, the lifestyle. There's so much that we have to evaluate to ensure that these people will have a good life together. And obviously when we do the introductions, we tell them that this is the reason we have, we're introducing you. But then they also have to look at behavior, they also have to look at the mindset of the individual that will then give them a better understanding of, whether they would be right for each other. But we would give them the support and the help on that. So the matchmaker's role is really to look at what the needs and the requirements of the individuals are, what their deal breakers are, understanding their psyche, understanding who they would best be as a perfect match with, and then giving them the introduction and letting them carry on to make their love story together.
So traditionally, that matchmaker role came in when marriages are being arranged by parents, but nowadays you've got all the online matchmaking services such as Shadi.com and in your role, you do that personally, that's a personal touch, but how does that compare to the online system?
So the online system, this is more of a modern thing. Like historically, you've said that it's always been maybe the aunties or the parents sort of doing it. Now with technology, a lot of things are being created through technology. You've got the apps, you've got the websites, and yes, people are using this, but some people are using this in a wrong way as well. We've heard all the horror stories of when people have gone onto these platforms and they've met with people and they're not who they say that they are. There's a danger of meeting people that could already be married, or there's a lot of background checks that haven't been done. As a personalized matchmaker, we verify each and every individual. We look at DBSs, we look at all their background checks. So with that, that's a little bit of a step further from what the traditional matchmaker used to do. The traditional matchmaker would have a huge network, and she would just generally just look within the family or within the area of that they're looking at, then they would just match them. Now we're getting people that want to be matched by people who are not even in the same community. This is one of the demands that we're getting, of like being matched with maybe like a revert or don't want to get married. So these are the demands. So as a personalized matchmaker, we have that database, we have that collaboration.
So you actually meet people's demand. So you mentioned about people wanting revert. Why don't they want somebody from their own culture rather than?
I think there's a lot of sensitivity and a lot of issues that people have had, and let's just talk about this because this is an issue that people are aware of, but they don't talk about it.
Tell us.
But unfortunately, what we've been seeing historically is that people have been dragged into marrying maybe a relative that they weren't very pleased with, and there was no compatibility, there was no alignment, and they lived maybe a lot of a miserable life, and then it came to an end. When they come to a realization that this is really not what I want from a marriage, then it comes to an end, sadly comes to an end, okay? So what parents have been observing and what the younger generation have been observing is that they don't want this drama that parents may have, seen, or their aunties may have seen, and unfortunately they don't like the politics that goes around within the Asian community, where you have to be having the extended family and you have to be, pleasing each person, and the headache that comes with it. That's the way that they look at it. So they would rather prefer to marry somebody who's a revert, who's looking at the religion and is looking to grow within the religion, and not looking at a cultural aspect but looking at a religious side, where they both can learn about Islam and both can live an independent life. And this is because we're looking at empowered women who are empowered women who are going through
Successful.
successful, and they don't want the attachment or the interference with the in-laws or with extended family. They want to live their life the way that they want to live their life. Their individualism is something that is a growing trend within majority of communities, I would say, and in particular within empowered women. Individualism is huge because they want to make a success of themselves. They want to continue to grow. They don't want to, if they're at a certain stage, they don't want to stay there. They want to continue to grow as an individual. So therefore, they want somebody who's going to support them. They want a partner who's going to allow them to progress and to become successful.
But
in that.
doesn't, when you have arranged marriages,
Yeah.
parents make sure that you are compatible with each other in education, in caste, in religion, and the social status.
Yes.
That's what arranged marriages do.
Yes.
And they do say that arranged marriages are much more successful than love marriages.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about love marriage and arranged marriages. So just to come back to our viewers, if you've just joined us, you are watching Empowered Women Show on Beyond TV UK, and I hope you will like and subscribe. And if there are any comments or if you want to contact us, by all means give us a call or write a message on the group, and I'm sure we will have a look. And today's show is about marriage, the importance of marriage when it comes to inspirational, successful, empowered women. And we're talking about both the love marriage and arranged marriages, but also some of the challenges and obstacles. So with me, I have a relationship coach and a matchmaker, but she has many other roles as well. And so what we're actually trying to do here is find out how marriage is, the importance of marriage, and how it helps women with the journey to success. Now, what we're saying here is that there's some women who can become successful
Yes.
on their own, but there are some who struggle if they go into a marriage where they don't have that support from the partner.
Yeah.
So, but and you're talking about they're looking for someone who is a Muslim,
Yes.
but wants to marry a revert who is from a much more westernized culture.
Yeah. So this is the trend that we're seeing. We've had events, we've had people contact us to say that, we want to be matched with somebody who's a revert. So this is a growing trend. That doesn't mean to say that people don't want to marry other, within their own community. But what they want is they want somebody who is an open-minded person, somebody who's going to be a partner rather than just a husband, but somebody who's going to be there as a partner who's going to be helping them to achieve their goals. So women who are successful have worked very hard to get to where they've got to. So they value that, and they value education, they value success in their careers. So they want somebody who's not going to be of a mindset where he's a traditionalist, where he would want her to, sort of have weekends where the family would be coming around and sort of she'll be cooking in the kitchen maybe the whole weekend, So she wants somebody who can really align with her.
Or help out in the cooking?
Yeah. So somebody who's more sort of on the similar mindset as her, and they can make some rules together, some boundaries together of how their life's going to be. This is where the girls kind of like struggle, and I think, I know that a lot of the younger girls are becoming highly educated. The parents have focused on that, and this is another thing that parents look at, is that if you get a really good education, you're going to get a really good husband. So that's the
But
thing.
education is for them. They want to achieve the education and then become independent themselves. And become successful in a career.
Yeah.
So once they become successful, they know exactly what they want. But there's that tradition as well, where parents take the children back home to Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and they get them married.
Yeah.
So are we saying that we're coming out of that trend?
Yeah, so historically, this was something that people would do. They would say that, okay, we're going to bring somebody from whichever country they would originate from, and they would bring the guy here or the girl here, and then they would be here. Now was one benefit of this was where the girl didn't have to deal with the in-laws because she didn't just have the guy there here, okay. But the negative side is, and this has caused a lot of issues, is where the girl would have to make a contribution towards the house, and the guy, whatever he was earning, the majority of it was going back home to support the family. Yes, he was making a small contribution to the household here, but he had a responsibility and a duty to provide for his family back home wherever he was from. Now this caused a lot of anxiety and tension and arguments between the couple, because naturally the girl wants him to be making a full contribution towards the household, and it is Islamically financial responsibility lies with the husband, and this where.
So what does Islam say about the rights of women in marriage?
So the rights of women is that they should be provided with a house, they should be provided with clothing, they should be provided with, food, and their needs should all be met financially by their husband. Now, we know that a lot of the younger girls and successful, empowered women are working, and they're probably earning more than the man. But Islamically, a woman's money is her money. She can do whatever she wishes to do with that money. She could give it all to charity. That's the reality of it,
I'm sure there's so many of my viewers thinking something else, and I'm not going to say it, but I'm sure. Go ahead, please.
Here, what's happening is that a woman, if she chooses to make a contribution to the household, that is through the kindness of her heart, okay? And that is considered as a sadaqah, which means that that's like a charitable act for her, okay? That's a kindness for her. And the men should really, really appreciate if she's actually doing this, because this is not really her role Islamically to be doing that, And I know of women that have made more than a contribution. They have run their own households, they've been doing the whole thing. They've been running the whole show financially.
Because I know there are lots of women who have brought their husbands over from back home,
yes,
and they're looking after them and taking care of them, and also looking after the houses. And there are lots of women out there who are doing that. Yeah. And it is, but what you're saying is, Islamically, they don't have to. They shouldn't have to.
They don't have to. They don't have to do that. But
is that why women don't want to get married to somebody back home as well? Or is there other reasons as well?
There's mindset issues, there's compatibility issues, there's also the immigration issues as well now, because with the law changing rapidly every now and then, there's no certainty of what's going to happen. I mean, now they've.
What about the upbringing and the communication side as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's completely different, and the mindset is completely different. And it's not that you won't get successful marriages there. Some people are. Some people adjust and adapt and change, and they look at and some people have come over from their countries and they're very financially secure and they're very successful and they've provided everything for their wife. But I think what arguments I've seen as a relationship expert when people come to me for their coaching sessions, when they do have problems financially, is that they feel that it's like becoming a burden on them, and the woman feels that she goes out, she works, she brings money home, she's paying the bills, she's putting the food on the table, and then she's just feeling, well, what is he actually doing? What's the purpose of my husband if he's not making a full contribution? And sometimes the men might feel a little bit relaxed, that it's okay, I don't have to work as hard now because my wife is also bringing in, so let's take a little step back, because she's making a contribution as well. But then the women, eventually they start getting really irritated and upset.
But there are lots of house husbands, so when they have children, because the woman is earning a lot more, the men stay home and look after the children, and the women go to work. So is that a change in the shift of, historically it was the men who would work, who would bring the money home, and the main purpose of getting a woman married was to have a husband who's going to look after her. But so Or are we seeing a shift in what's happened historically?
Yeah, there's definitely been a huge shift, you know, in so many different ways. I mean, you're not going to get a girl now, anybody that comes and registered with us, the majority of the girls do not want to live with in-laws. They want to live independently. They want the husband to make a full contribution, as in, you know, doing the housework and looking after the children. They feel that it's his responsibility as well as hers, because if she's sharing the responsibility of working and bringing in the income, then she feels that it's also his responsibility to be sharing some of the duties that would normally have been on her shoulders. Yeah, so it's like a balance. So
is that more of Western culture? Because what you're saying, what Islam says, and what you're actually demonstrating and saying here, it's a shift into more about, you know, because they are doing this, being educated and brought up in the UK, that's the reason they're doing it? Or is that also happening back in Bangladesh, Pakistan, India?
I think generally it's happening worldwide. People are looking at historically why marriages have struggled, the interference. You know, there's always been this thing within certain communities that the mother-in-laws are always not very nice to their daughter-in-laws, and there are very, very good mother-in-laws as well. But you know, this is a perception that the West have about the Asian community, that the mother-in-laws are quite, you know, demanding on the daughter-in-law, and they kind of really give them a lot of tension. So what people are now looking at is trying to avoid that type of situation. So they're saying, let's just live independently, let's not live with the family, because we don't want to come to a situation where we've had an argument, we've had a fallout, and then we've needed to move. Let's just move straight away, okay? Now, of course, when you've got a pressure like that, and when somebody's only got one son, the in-laws, the boys' side are saying, well, we only want a daughter-in-law who's going to come and live with us, okay? So this makes the matchmaking process quite difficult, because maybe he is a really good match for this girl, but their demands are very different, okay? And of course we know that the house prices are quite, you know, they're going through the roof. Yes, they can rent as well if they wanted to honour that demand that the girl has got. Okay, so the other it raises another question as well of what's going to happen when the parents come of age. They can live independently, and the parents are maybe well and, you know, doing their own thing, and they're able to do things. But what happens when the parents become quite old? Okay, does it mean that they will then support them, as the Asian community have always supported older parents? Or does it mean that, you know, we're going to see a trend or a rise, you know, where we're going to see more old age pensioners' homes filled with Asian community, you know? So trends are changing.
There is a lot of Asian parents who are actually living in home nowadays than before.
Yeah. So the trends, you can see the data is already heading that way. And now that the younger generation that are ready to get married, they're saying, well, we want to live independently. And I have so many people that are demanding that they want to stay with their parents, and some boys want to stay with their parents because they feel that they don't have to take big responsibility of buying a new house and, you know, all the rest of it. So but the girls are not really interested in that type of thing.
So have you had many cases like that where you've been in that situation? How did you do the matchmaking to make sure that everybody comes to that win-win situation?
Yeah, of course, you know, you have to, when I've come to this sort of situation, I've given my opinion on this and asked them to be a bit more open-minded, because the fact is that there are a lot more girls than boys. Statistically, there are a lot more girls, and on my database, I have girls that are kind of approaching almost 40, never married before, because
so what's the marriage age nowadays? Because
it's about 30, 33, 35 is the normal age now.
That's a big shift, isn't it? Because I remember before that parents used to get the children married as soon as they left, done the GCSEs or is it O-levels at that time, take them back home and get them married. So are we actually seeing that shifted?
Oh, definitely, because this is, we're talking about empowered women, and women focusing on themselves and looking at getting their degrees, getting their master degrees, getting their career sorted. I have clients on my database that are also got properties. So they've invested in properties. That's their security for their future. So if ever anything was to happen with their relationship, you know, with their marriage, then they've got that safety net of income coming in. Or if they're ever to fall ill, they've got that, you know, it's like an investment for them. So they've got that security of money coming in. And then they decide to, okay, now we're settled. We've got our property. We've got our education. We've got our career. We're earning 100,000 a year, whatever they might be earning. And okay, now we're going to look at getting married. Okay, so that person at that age is not going to go and live with the in-laws. When they were 16, 17, it was almost like a child going and living with a new family, new mother, new father, new brothers, sisters, and they would just, you know, like be molded within that family in a way. So they didn't really feel that, okay, I'm 16, 17, going into a new family, this is now my new family. Imagine a 30-plus-year-old woman, you know, who's a successful woman, then going and living in a family. It's not going to happen, is it? You know, it's not going to really, that's the reason the girls don't really want to go and live with family, because they're strong-headed, they're independent, they don't want anybody to tell them how to live their life. Already the thought of having somebody new in your life at that stage, you know, and adjusting with their needs and stuff, just as a partner, as on their own, can be quite taxing on them. They can be quite challenging for them, because this is a, you know, they're coming out of their comfort zone, they're accepting this new person in their life, and it can be quite difficult for them, and it can be quite frightening for them as well. And that's why coaching is needed, pre-marriage coaching, to say, well, okay, what is a marriage?
So what is a pre-marriage coaching? Because I know after marriage that people have coaching, and in the Western culture we always see marriage counselors, you know, but this is not something that Asian families or Asian couples go for. So tell us a bit more about that.
So pre-marriage coaching is before the marriage. People have their anxieties, they have the negativity that, okay, what if, they always think about the worst, that I'm going to get married and I'm going to end up having an argument and this. Yes, you will have arguments. It's a part of the process of marriage, because you're individuals, you will have your own opinions, they will have their own opinions. There may be situations where, you know, you disagree, but it's about communication and how you deal with conflict, how you know, overcome it and understand the other person's perspective. So that's pre-marriage coaching, is understanding, having that self-discovery, knowing what your flaws are, because nobody's perfect, I know, you know, and identifying this, and then seeing, well, okay, how can I move forward? How can I deal with when I do have my first, you know, the first year is the most difficult year in the marriage.
Can I ask, you know, in your pre-marriage coaching,
do
you have couples break up afterward?
Yes, the reality is that people
when you
do argue.
give them the reality and show them the reality, do they break up afterward, or?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, you know, you do have people that will come up and say that, well, we disagreed with this, and people tend to always look at the negatives of an individual, but we also have to take the positives of the individual as well. So when things like that happen, we can only give them guidance, but the ultimate decision is going to be with them, you know, if they're arguing.
So are those couples usually arranged marriage couples, or are they usually love marriage couples?
So these are couples that are now married that will come to us, to get coaching. So our aim is to analyze the whole situation, get them both to speak what they're going through, because sometimes it's about lack of communication between themselves, and a lot of the time it is to do with communication, effective communication. Okay, trust. Respect. Sometimes the woman feels that she's not respected. Sometimes the man feels he's not respected.
How important is respect in a marriage?
Oh, it's one of the important things, you know, and some people
Because people say love, but is respect higher than love?
Love is something, an emotion that people feel, okay? But respect is something that you have to, you know, of course you have to show love as well.
Is that the bond that keeps the relationship together?
But also, absolutely, these are the key sort of pillars that people need to think about. You know, there's pillars within the relationships that they have to look at.
What are the pillars?
So you've got communication, you've got trust, you've got responsibility, you've got already I said communication, making sure that love is there as well. You know, so love is a big thing, and also partnership. And also compromise. Okay, so there's lots of different pillars, and you can join them all together as one, or you can
as the ingredients to a successful marriage.
Absolutely. So, and also people struggle in different sort of ways, and it depends on what is affecting them, and we have to analyze this if there's patterns of certain things that are going on, and how we can fix this. So with the coaching, I would even advise that even if people are not struggling within their marriage, is something that they have to look at to learn about relationships, okay, to strengthen their relationship, understand the tactics and the tools that they can use. I mean, if we look at other communities, they do couple retreats.
Yes.
You know, they'll go off on little holidays, and I think that's an excellent way to connect with your partner. Sometimes with work and children and everything else that comes
do you
around.
make all those arrangements if they need to go?
Yeah, so we would make arrangements for them. We'd say, you know, you need to arrange for your children to be with one of the parents or a sibling.
But that, you know what you've just said about parents, right? And looking after children. But isn't that one of the benefits of having parents as well? Because they can actually be a child carer, but also the bond between grandparents and grandchildren are very important,
Of course
right?
they are, yeah.
So, you know, having a joint family, doesn't that bring that family bond much more stronger?
Definitely, and children that have been brought up in a household where they've had great grandparents are completely different individuals than a person who hasn't had a grandparent. You know, they receive a lot of love and a lot of attention from their grandparents.
So by living individually, are you not depriving the
them.
parents and the children, the grandchildren, of the love of the elders? And, you know, it is... I understand where you're coming from. I mean, we know that the society has changed.
Yes.
The culture has changed a lot now, but there are still lots of families I know who live close to their family because it's a free childcare for them, isn't it?
It's very beneficial to people that if they have that connection and that bond with their family, there's a lot of benefit to them. Okay, grandparents provide a lot of wisdom to the children. Okay, they have that love and that bond that they can't get with the parents. The parents are quite busy, you know, with their lives and everything. Children need their grandparents, and yes, they can be a supporting network for them as well. We mentioned about the success of arranged marriages and love marriages. So one of the reasons historically we've seen successful arranged marriages is that on the one end you can see that sometimes they could be an interference from the in-laws, okay? But on the other end, they could be a supportive network for you as well.
Yeah.
So when you are having difficulties, they could be a guidance for you. They could be a support for you to say that, come on, you know, that these issues happen. Let's just try to sort this out, okay? And because it was historically arranged marriages were almost like not just a marriage between two people, but it was a marriage between two families. You know, so then there was that respect that, okay, we have to keep the respect, we have to try to overcome this, and let's just work things out.
So are we saying that family connection, because, you know, we were brought up in that sense, it's not just the girl and the boy that's get married, it's the whole family connection. Two families come together and become one.
Yes.
So are we saying that this is also, we're shifting away from that?
Yeah, I think the younger generation don't really want to, because they're busy lifestyles and they've become almost like, maybe robots is not the right word, but they're almost like, you know, they've got their whole day cut out, you know, and they don't want that disturbance. Or, you know, because before, remember, and I love that time, you know, and I miss that time. You know, people didn't used to make appointments. They could just turn up whenever they wanted, you know, and it was nice, and you just give that quality time to that person, and you wouldn't even think anything about it, you know. But now it's okay, this person's come, they've come uninvited, and how do I deal with this?
Yeah.
You know, it's
Society has changed a lot.
Yeah, society has changed.
Yeah, I remember when my mum was alive, like she'd cook a lot of food extra, say, just in case somebody comes to the house. The door was always open.
Yeah.
But now everybody closes the door,
Yeah.
security, and that's because of what's happening, you know, in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's not safe to keep the door open. But that wasn't the culture before.
No, it wasn't.
But also there are lots of great mother-in-laws I know. I mean, like my mother was a wonderful mother-in-law. She used to take food to my sister-in-laws in the bedroom, and you know. But there are lots of daughter-in-laws who are fantastic,
Yeah.
and there are some vice versa, daughter-in-laws and mother-in-laws. Because I work with a lot of women who suffer domestic violence,
Yeah.
and not only do they suffer from the husband, but the in-laws as well.
Yeah.
And these are the girls who are coming back home, like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. But those are girls are also highly educated girls who are coming here and they're not actually doing anything. And that's what concerns me, is that, you know, they get educated and they get married to somebody from UK, they come here and all they're doing is, you know, they're not utilizing that qualification, that skills, because there are lots of great qualified,
Yeah.
experienced women who are coming here
Yes.
and they're not able to utilize that skill set because
That's right.
their role is just to do the cooking and cleaning.
Yeah, I think that's quite sad, you know, and I had a case which I'd like to sort of like share with you. I had a girl that came over from Pakistan. She was highly educated. She had a master's degree in mathematics. When she came here, her husband was normal sort of qualification. When he came here, he wanted her to be that normal housewife. Okay, so he brought her back from Pakistan looking to get a housewife. She was feeling quite uncomfortable with the situation because she wanted to work, because she had the skills and she wanted to, you know, utilize her skills. She felt that, why did I do a master's degree and made all that effort to get that qualification if all I was going to do is come here and be in a kitchen? Okay, so she asked him that she wanted to work, and he said, no, I don't want you to work, I just want you to be at home. And she was with an extended family, so she had the in-laws living with her as well. Okay, so she actually went and applied for a national insurance number on her own, and of course the immigration rules don't allow that. It needs to be through the spouse, that he needs to apply for her. So there was some issue, an argument about that, and this is how they actually ended up coming to me. Okay, so I looked at the situation, and she was quite emotional and said that, you know, look, I feel that I've done so much and I want to really work, and you know, he's not allowing me to work, and that's the reason I applied for my national insurance, so I could get work. He just said that I don't really like that my wife goes out to work, and this is something that I disagree with. So this is the reason that I said to her that you can't work. So I came to a solution to say that she's got a master's degree in mathematics. There's so much work online these days. She could still utilize her skills by being at home and still be teaching, or she could have, you know, online platform where she could be doing and utilizing her skills. So he was quite happy with that. So the solution was just very simple, but they hadn't really thought about it. And then she got her national insurance and she got her job. So I think it's just a perception that a lot of people have, that if they bring a girl from Pakistan and she's got a qualification, that she's still going to be in the kitchen and she's still going to be... Girls don't want that. In fact, this is...
And that's one of the reasons some of the successful women don't want to be in a extended family house, because they think they will have to give up their career and become a housewife.
Yes.
But there are lots of in-laws who are very supportive of that as well. But what you've just described is that issue was resolved because they came to you.
Yes.
So if any of our viewers here are actually watching and have a slight issue or an issue they want to come to you, how do they contact you?
Well, I'm very active on social media, so I've got, you know, TikTok and all the other platforms, Facebook, Instagram. LinkedIn I'm quite sort of active on because that's a professional platform, and they can contact me. You know, the details, I don't know if we
Do you have a website or?
I've got Muslim Matrimonial Coach as a website as well, so there's telephone numbers and details on there, so they're more than welcome to contact me. I get several calls and several messages a day, and I do try to attend to them as much as I can. I do have a team that sort of takes up the messages and responds as well. So,
So what we're saying is, if there are problems in your marriage, every marriage is a problem, and you can't find a solution, by all means find a married coach or relationship coach, contact them and speak about your issues. And you know what, sometimes it could easily be resolved rather than ending a marriage or separating. So there are always solutions to every problem. So coming back to our marriage, so are we actually seeing a shift towards love marriages nowadays?
Most definitely. I think this is something that I get from the parents all the time. So yes, people are meeting at universities, they're meeting at work, they're meeting, and parents are quite happy and comfortable for their young adult children to meet somebody, as long as they follow the same faith, as long as they, you know, are compatible, and their children, the young children, are happy. They're happy for their children, you know. And we've seen that trend where several people are saying, "Oh, he found her himself," or "She found him herself." Yeah, we're also seeing a big shift in people marrying out of culture as well. You know, so they're not necessarily marrying within their own culture. They might be marrying somebody who's a revert. And we touched on this earlier as well.
What about religion as well?
So religion, so they would be like a revert.
No. Like there are people who are marrying outside their own religion, own culture. And how does that work?
So yes, people are marrying out of their own religion. They are marrying out of their own culture. Culture maybe is a little bit different, but when they're marrying out of the religion, some families will, you know, not be too happy about it. Some families.
But does Islam allow that? Because you can marry someone who is out of religion who would be able to convert or revert?
Yeah.
So what does Islam say about that?
Islam says that if for a male to marry, he can marry a practicing Muslim, a practicing Christian, or a practicing Jewish lady. That's because they don't have to. They're all of the Abrahamic religion. You know, they're all from they're the people of the book. You know, and then that's fine, okay? So because the children that come from that marriage will be following the religion of the father, okay?
Well, what about for girls? Because there are lots of girls who wants to marry someone outside the religion. What happens to them?
So they would generally, the guys would need to accept Islam, because the children tend to follow the religion of the father, you know, that's so therefore the boy needs to be a Muslim. If she's happy and she wants to marry that, if she wants to bring her children up as Muslim, then she would need to ensure that the husband is a Muslim.
So that is allowed, because I hear all these different versions. Like you've just said, that's allowed in Islam.
Yes.
But there are so many people that says, actually, it's not allowed for a girl to marry someone outside of the religion, because, you know, even if he reverts to Islam, it's not allowed. And, you know, there's all these mixed messages.
No. I think in Islam's a very open religion, and it welcomes any creed, any colour, and, you know, anybody who wants to accept Islam and come into Islam. We should be welcoming these people, you know, because Islam doesn't belong to one colour. Islam doesn't belong to one creed. Islam belongs to everybody, and anybody is welcome to the religion. Anybody can join the religion, and we should be, welcoming anybody that comes. I mean, we've heard about people that go to the mosque as well, and they feel it reverts that go to the mosque, and they feel that, you know, they're kind of like not being really welcome. There's no colour in Islam. Islam has every colour.
It's the most inclusive religion.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So therefore, the mindset of our parents needs to change to say, well, as long as he's Muslim, as long as he's, you know, going to
reverting,
and as long as your daughter or your son is happy and they're going to be learning about the deen together, about the faith together. There's nothing wrong with marrying in different culture, in different races, and embracing new cultures within. The religion is something that should be the most important thing. Yeah.
Okay, now, I mean, if only every parent actually believed in that and embraced that, then it would have been much different as well, because I think there's conflicting messages that parents are getting, which, I hear about and I think actually, so I'm glad you've actually reiterated what I've heard, that, girl or boy, they can, if they're not a Muslim, they can revert to Islam, but if they're Christians or a Jew, a male, what happens then?
So they can marry a
girl.
Muslim woman, Christian woman, but those Christian women and Jewish women need to be practicing. So this is like an Orthodox Christian that believe in God, that they, these days you have a lot of people who say that they are Christian, but they don't even know who God is, or, they're confused in that way. So they have to be someone, historically, if you look at the Christian person, they believed in one God, they believed in the prophets, they believed, they had their own sort of belief system. So they're already kind of like there's a lot of similarities, isn't there, between the Christian faith and the Jewish faith and the Islam as well. So that's why it's...
So Islam allows love marriages, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and the thing is that a woman and a man have the choice to choose the person that they marry. If they choose the person themselves, then the parents should listen to what they want, because at the end of the day, we have to live our life for ourselves. Yes, our parents have a right over us, but at the same time, the parents are living their life and we have to live our own lives, so children have to live their own lives. And it's about respecting their wishes as well, for the children's sake. So the parents have to think, well, yes, we gave birth to these children, we brought them up, we've given them the best life that we can give them, but we also need to give them their choice as well in life. And whether they make the right choice or the wrong choice, it's their choice at the end of the day, because they have to live with that person.
We could talk forever, and we're coming close to finishing very soon. If you've actually joined on Beyond TV UK online, we are talking about marriage and for successful and empowered women. So I hope you're watching, wherever you're watching from, please do like and subscribe. And if you've got any question, by all means, please give us a call. Now, I know we have to finish very soon. Just before we finish, as a relationship coach, what would you say are the key contributors to a successful marriage?
It's about self-discovery. So understanding yourself, understanding where you might be wrong, because we're very quick at pointing at the other person, looking at how you can improve, and really looking at the pillars of how you can give that quality time to each other. We're living in a time where technology is taking over our lives as well. Putting those phones away, switching those TVs off, and just giving that, just going back to the basics, I would say, that natural way that people used to live before, and the anxieties and things just putting them away, and having those love stories, I think the love stories have all gone as well, people are not, they think that, oh, that's too cheesy, we don't want to do that, but love is really good, I think people should enjoy the partnership as well.
I think one of Allah's 99 names is love, isn't it?
Yes.
Of course. So, now we spoke about marriage, and people watching will know that divorce rates are really high at the moment in our community. So tell us a bit about what's happening at the moment when it comes to successful, empowered women. I know we touched on some of the areas on why there's complications in marriages, but yet tell us about what is happening with the divorce in our community at the moment.
I think, well, there's many reasons for divorce, okay? Either they've not been matched properly, so the compatibility is not there, the tolerance is not there, And I mean, the thing is that tolerance is important, but there shouldn't be a toxic relationship that you continue to tolerate, okay? You need to know where the line is drawn, okay?
Domestic violence.
Yeah, domestic violence is huge.
Because it's not just physical, it's emotional and psychological and financial.
Absolutely.
Yes, on my last show we did speak about domestic violence. But then also what we're seeing is that compatibility, you mentioned about, a few times, which is crucial. And so what advice would you give to anyone who's watching who might be going through a divorce or might be thinking about divorce?
Well, you need to really analyze your situation. What is actually happening? What's happened? What has your contribution been towards this? What is your husband or your partner doing about this? And really give your marriage a chance. The thing is that once a person is divorced, remember the matchmaking process or finding that partner for yourself, we know is quite a difficult process as it is already, okay? So people have been on trying to find a compatible match, and they've been there looking for years and they haven't found somebody, okay? And then once you are married, and then if you are leading towards divorce, remember that that process again is just going to be just as hard. And once the person is divorced, that goes on to the profile, then it becomes more and more difficult. So the thing is that sometimes it's just really small things that people can just really sit down and work out. So look at speaking to a relationship expert, look at what's going on and how things can change, because this can be transformed, this can change. It doesn't have to be the way that it is. And yes, it's very sad that the divorce rates are going through the roof, and it's really petty things sometimes that people are getting a divorce over. Marriage should be a sacred thing, and people should really try to make it work.
So marriage isn't a bed of roses. There are thorns in there as well.
Absolutely.
And it's how you deal with those thorns. And, and there are people like yourself who are out there to support anyone that's actually in that situation. And, Islam, what does Islam say about divorce?
Well, the thing is, it's a disliked act. Okay, divorce is not something that is like. They say that
it allows it though?
Even the heavens, they shake when somebody says the word divorce. Okay, but now it's become so common, and people have made it so common that it's okay, divorce, and.
But Islam allows divorce.
Islam allows divorce when people are unhappy, and it's it's really affecting their mental well-being. It's affecting their whole life. People should not have to remain in a toxic relationship. So, for example, you mentioned about domestic violence. If somebody is being abusive towards somebody in that way, mentally torturing them, physically torturing them, then they should get out of that situation. We should not accept somebody to be abusive towards us. We should then make the move and have a divorce. Fantastic. You also mentioned financial abuse as well. They're not giving them money, they're depriving them of. A woman shouldn't have to live in that sort of situation as well.
So in those situations,
it's allowed.
It's allowed.
It's allowed.
What about nowadays, right? What's happening is these extramarital affairs?
Well, that's very common these days, and technology has a massive role to play in that, because it's easy to meet up with somebody. I mean, these applications that we talked about earlier, and this is why I said that, you know, they can be quite dangerous. You need to do the due diligence of who this is that you're actually speaking to. A lot of married people are going on to this. They might have an argument with their partner, and then, you know, they'll go on to one of the platforms and start chatting to somebody. They'll go and meet them and start having affairs with them. That's quite a common thing. And it's a sad situation, but that's where society is really heading and, you know, going. So just be careful on who you're speaking to, how you're sort of presenting yourself. If you are on any of the platforms, make sure that you're not sort of just speaking to somebody who maybe is already married, or maybe, you know, is just taking you for just looking at having an affair with you and then not going to progress with a relationship with you, you know, as in getting married with you. Yeah. So
it is a sad world. well out there. But
It is.
I suppose we are now coming to the end of the show. So, Gazala, thank you so much for sharing so much information,
There's
the
so
pearl
much.
of wisdom that you've actually shared. And I know we can go on and on talking about this, because I think it is a subject that most of my viewers are actually out there will find it relevant, and some of the things that you've said as well. So I hope that, you know, the viewers don't actually take anything in the wrong way. We're just sharing some of the experiences, and, you know, different people's experience are different. So I hope, you know, it's been useful. And before we finish, if there is anything you'd like to say to our viewers.
Yeah. So I'd just like to say that this mindset that we have in our communities, where we feel that going to somebody for support is a bad thing and it maybe shows that you're weak within your relationship. It's not at all. It shows that you're strengthening your relationship and you're thinking in a positive way. So look at your relationship, analyze how you are with both of you, and how can you improve it. And if you need any support or any help, just shout out to me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you've all been inspired. I've learnt so much today from Gazala. So to all our viewers, thank you so much for watching us and on Beyond TV UK. And just remember, our journey to empowerment is always unique, and the path to marriage is also a unique path. So, you know, there are many ups and downs in marriages, and, you know, don't give up. There are coaches, life coaches out there. Speak to them. And if by speaking to them and getting some help and advice, then you need to take steps, then, you know, that is entirely up to you. But, you know, we do hope that you will see marriage as a partnership of equals, regardless of whether it's love or arranged marriages. Embrace it with open arms, an open heart and a good spirit as well, and look for a partner who will support you and support your dreams and your aspirations, who will communicate with openly and also share responsibilities, because I think those are some of the key things that you've mentioned are fundamental in some of these marriage breakdowns as well. And together you can create a fulfilling and empowering journey through marriage. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you were inspired by our guest today, Gazala Saleem. And also, I'd like to thank our Beyond TV team, who without them, we would not be here today. So thank you so much to Riyadh Bhai and to the Beyond TV team for all their hard work. And also to all of you viewers, thank you so much for watching. And I hope if there is any ideas, or if you want anything on my next show, please do put it on there as well. And let us know what you think of the show. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next Empowered Women show. Until next time, continue to empower and be empowered. Thank you.